onto one conveyor belt leading to the main facility where the sorting process begins. Size is a big deal at the Boulder County Recycling Center, and the first part of the sorting system separates the very big from the very small. First, the big things get pulled out at the first pre-sort, or what I like to call the big bad thing remover. These quick-handed people go through all this and pull out larger bad things that are very damaging to the recycling system. So please help us by only recycling materials listed in your recycling guidelines. After those bad things are removed at the first pre-sort, the big pieces of cardboard are separated out. The materials bounce and flip and rock and roll over the corrugated cardboard screen. And at the top, the large pieces of cardboard drop off the end to the floor where they get nicely baled up and sold to companies who make new things out of old cardboard. As that's happening, the smaller materials, like me, fall through the screen and onto a series of conveyor belts that take us back to the tipping hall. Oh, that's better than a good workout at the gym. Ooh. So we've taken out the biggest materials. Now it's the littlest pieces' turn to be taken out at the fine screen. These fines are mostly tiny pieces of broken glass. So at the fine screen, the broken glass gets removed from paper. And that's important. It's also important that these sharp little pieces come out so they don't cut up the conveyor belts. All these little pieces are sent to the container sorting system, which I'll show you later. But for now, we'll stick with the bigger materials on the paper sorting line as they arrive at the second pre-sort. The second pre-sort is a lot like the first pre-sort. Here, more busy hands work to pull out more materials that either aren't recyclable at all or that can't be recycled at this facility, like these stringy things and plastic bags, which are also sent straight to the landfill. Plastic bags are some of the worst contaminants at the recycling center. So please, instead of bagging recyclables or sending your plastic bags here, take them to participating grocery stores or the EcoCycle City of Boulder Center for Hard to Recycle Materials, also known as CHARM. And here's a hint. Make sure the bags are clean and dry when you drop them off, or they'll still end up in the landfill. Or better yet, avoid using plastic bags altogether by bringing your own reusable bag to the store. Back on the line, in addition to pulling out non-recyclable materials, these workers also sort out the remaining smaller pieces of cardboard and paperboard, like cereal boxes and shoe boxes, which are dropped down dark chutes, baled, and sent to market to make new products. Take it away, good buddy! After going through the second pre-sort, the materials head to the screens, or more specifically, the fancy double-deck paper screens. Remember how the first part of the sorting process was to separate the very big from the very small? Well, here at the paper screens, we're separating the containers from the paper. Here's how it works. The double-deck paper screens separate flat objects like paper from round or three-dimensional objects such as plastic bottles, steel cans, milk and juice cartons, and aluminum cans, like me. The flat papers are what we call mountain climbers. They literally climb up layer after layer of specially designed rubber discs all the way to the top deck. But containers like me can't climb the rubber discs. We're like boulders in the middle of an avalanche, and we fall backwards onto another screen. Meanwhile, at the top deck, the clean paper takes a flying leap off the end and onto a conveyor belt leading to quality control stations, where workers remove any remaining contamination. Paper making it past these folks heads to a bunker and waits patiently to be baled and sent to paper markets. Oh, and by the way, since this equipment is sorting flats from rounds, it's important that containers stay round or 3D rather than being flattened, or the equipment might confuse a container for a piece of paper and send us to the wrong place. That's why we ask you not to flatten plastics or cans like me! And please be sure to ball your aluminum foil rather than flattening it. But let's back up to the double-decker paper screens, where all of us containers fell down while the paper kept climbing. We didn't quite get all the paper in containers separated, so we do the whole process over again on the bottom deck. Even after that, we still have some paper with us, so we need to climb one last mountain, screen, and this time we're talking about the banana screen. Yep, this screen is a much steeper climb than the first two, but don't worry, because here the paper has some help with the climb. The air system. The air system provides air that blows against the paper. That helps the paper stick to the star discs so they can climb to new heights and up and away over the top. But of course, we containers are too heavy for the airstream, so we fall back down the screen. And once again, the paper making it over the banana screen heads down a conveyor belt to workers who remove contamination. All the clean paper then ends up at a giant bunker where it's gathered together, baled, and loaded onto rail cars outside the building. Those bales are then off to the market to be made into new paper products. Back inside the plant, my container friends and I have gone through 3 screens to remove the last of the paper. Except, you'll see there is some paper still here. Shredded paper. The shredded paper fell through the cracks between the rubber discs and is still here with the containers. This stuff wreaks havoc on the systems, especially once it gets wet and literally glues up the works. Please, don't put your shredded paper in your recycling bin at home, at work, or at school. Instead, compost the shred in your curbside compost bin. Back on the line, now that the paper is separated out, it's time for all the containers to move through the container sorting system. Here at the container sorting system, the containers are reunited with the fines, those tiny glass pieces and other items we left way back in the process. Once again, it all starts with a pre-sort station where workers check for contamination. If we make the grade here, we continue on to the cross-belt magnet. The magnet removes all the steel cans from the stream and zap, discharges them into their own personal bunker. Next, the light and heavy materials are separated by the air classifier. The heavy stuff, the glass, jiggles down to the bottom. The light stuff, like plastic bottles, milk and juice cartons, and the beautiful aluminum cans,